We are going to go into the Psalm 27.
I'll read it.
Very good. Go ahead, Sam.
The Lord is my light and my salvation.
The Lord is my light and my salvation.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom should I fear? The Lord is my life's refuge. To whom I shall be afraid?
The Lord is my light and my salvation.
Hear, O Lord, the sound of my call. Have pity on me and answer me. Of you my heart speaks. You my glance seeks.
The Lord is my light
and my salvation.
Your presence, O Lord, I seek. Hide not your face from me. Do not in anger repel your servant. You are my helper. Cast me not off.
The Lord is my light and my salvation.
I believe that I shall see the bounty of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord with courage. Be stout-hearted and wait for the Lord.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. So when we start this particular psalm off, what is light? What's typically thought of as light? The Lord is light. So if you guys have ever gotten up in the morning and try to walk without having lights on, it's something, you stumble, it's difficult. We need that. And so we need it for guidance, right? Because one of the saints said it's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. And I think that there's a lot of things that are kind of given to us by light. For example, truth, right? The light is truth. You have the light of the truth is a light. It's a light to our intellect. It's a light to guide us through this world, right? The truth. And unfortunately, truth is not a function of time. So that's fortunately it isn't, because God is truth, right? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, right? So he is the truth. He's unchangeable. And that's something that people try to do in this society now, is to say, well, the truth 5 years ago isn't the same truth now, right? And that's, they try to manipulate the words, manipulate the meanings, and then they can rewrite history in a lot of ways, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. I mean, the truth is the truth. So things that were wrong then are wrong now. It's not something that's going to change with time. That's where they got into so many problems in the mid 1800s when they rejected God. And then from that, what did we have? We had communism come out of that. We had socialism come out of that. It was a complete rejection of God, and 100 million people died, in the 20th century in various ways. And that was kind of a failed, when there is no God, then it makes sense just to wipe people out. I mean, that's a logical conclusion. If there is no God and somebody's in your way, kill them. I mean, really, why not? I mean, if there is no God and you have nothing but this life and there is no repercussions for anything that you do, then that's kind of the logical conclusion of, might makes right. And we saw that in the last century, because once there's a complete rejection of God and a moral standard, then you have anarchy and the whole world kind of collapses. And that's actually what happens. That is a dangerous situation that can happen with once saved, always saved. Because, and it kind of hit me when somebody said, well, Jesus paid so I can play. And I'm like, what? Well, it's a logical conclusion. Then why do anything? Why go to church? I mean, say say the prayer, speak it with your mouth, and and Jesus is Lord, and you're saved. Okay, I can't lose my salvation. I can do whatever I want. And unfortunately, that's a bad but it is a logical conclusion. It is the logic that follows from that type of religion, and it's not biblical. That's an invention of the 1900s, and so it's not good. And so people say that, and it's good to we have hope for our salvation, and we can be pretty assured, if we die in the state of grace, there is an assurance that, you're going to heaven, right? I mean, if you die in the state of grace, you died in the state of grace, right? It's pretty simple. But if you die in mortal sin, that means you're an enemy with God. The church teaches you go to hell. It's pretty clear cut. And so the key is that you want to order your life by what? Pursuing virtues and staying, in the fold of the church, that is actually following the virtues and following all the teachings of Christ since the beginning. And so we have to be careful. But this truth, this light, this guidance, this divine presence is also light. And so we see that. We're going to see it later in the gospel. What happened when Jesus was glorified? He was dazzling, brighter than lightning. So he was filled with light. And that's kind of a taste. We're going to see, I'll dive into it a little bit more later, but that's a taste of how our glorified bodies are going to be. There's going to be a brightness to it, which is kind of amazing and something to look forward to. Hear, O Lord, the sound of my call. Have pity on me and answer me. Of you my heart speaks. You my glance seeks. Are we seeking God? I mean, this is especially during Lent. We should be asking this question. Are we really seeking God in what we're doing? Well, look at what you do. What do you do? I mean, analyze, what do I do in a day? Keep track. Keep track of everything you do. Put it on a chart, and you'll know. You'll know what you're seeking. And so what is your life ordered toward? And I think that's the key is what are, and it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect now, but it's a good time during Lent to say, look, I'm falling short, and pray. God will help you. If you want to know, say, Holy Spirit, convict me of all the sins that I have in my heart, and then we'll watch out. Because, we're all work in progress, every one of us. And that's why I'm usually in the line at the back of the church at Mass. They didn't have one at 7:30. There was no confession. But, I mean, it's a good practice because then you're doing, it's a habit forming too. You're looking at your life and saying, yep, screwed up there, yep, there, but over time you'll notice it gets better. At least I have, because if you're not looking and keeping, it's like you can get discouraged if you're not keeping, any type of records or track of it, and at least in your mind mentally, or, it's thinking, oh, Lord, I'm whatever it is, you can say I'm not making much improvement in this area. But God sees the long game. He sees, your entire life, every moment. And so we have to be seeking him, and that's part of it. Lord, let me know myself and let me know you. Let me know you, love you, and serve you more. That's what we're supposed to pray, right? You're my helper, Lord. I believe that I shall see the bounty of the Lord in the land of the living. And so we're looking both for earthly blessings and heavenly blessings. There is earthly blessings even by following the 10 Commandments. We follow the 10 Commandments, right, because they are actually a blessing to us. As I mentioned last week, it doesn't seem like a blessing when I first read it. I thought, oh boy, don't do this, don't do that, don't do anything. No, that's the way it seems. That's kind of how when you first read it, and it's kind of a negative, but in the other sense, it's like it's a freedom from having, it's a freedom to slavery to all these different things that you will have slavery to if you break that commandment. And so there's freedom. You're free from the law. Once you follow it and completely are part of it, you're kind of free from the law. And God will give you the strength to do it. And so we kind of mentioned that last week in the reading. And so I think that's important. But this is a wonderful, wonderful psalm, because when we say it, the Lord is my light, my salvation. So when we say Lord, what does that mean? That means something. Satan won't say Lord, will he? No. Satan won't say Lord.
I don't care what he says anyway.
Right, but we say Lord, which is different. And we don't really understand it because we don't really have, like a king, a monarch, or, kind of a system where they're in charge, and what they say goes. We don't kind of follow that or understand that, but we say, Lord, Lord. Jesus said, don't say Lord, Lord, and then don't do what I say. If you say Lord, Lord, do what I say. Or don't say Lord, Lord, because what you're saying means nothing. And that's kind of important too.